Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. New episode 2 of the Solidity podcast. Super excited to be here with my best friend, business partner, and sister, Marisa Maggio. And we were thinking, how can we help agents? Like, what do agents need to hear right now? And one thing I think you've always done a really good job at, Marisa, is just being consistent and understanding that if you put the proper amount of activity in, you're going to ultimately breed the results you want. So today we kind of wanted to hone in on what activity should look like as an agent to ultimately start getting the results that you want as an agent working with Family First Life. Anything you wanted to add to that?
Well, no, absolutely. I mean, I think that the most important thing, right, Christina, is if you don't have activity, you're not going to have results. And a little bit of activity is going to yield you no results, typically, right?
Yeah, it's all numbers. It's all numbers. You got to have the numbers and the activity in your favor, or
you're not going to get
where you want to be.
Yeah, before we jump into things, I just want to say it's almost like, Christina, I'll never forget, like, when you came to FFL, obviously we were at the practice companies. Mm-hmm. I think actually it was at our practice company. When you came in, you had booked like 4 appointments, and that was it. And I was mad because you went out and you sold all of them.
Yeah.
And all I could think was, if you were a brand new agent, you would think you could book 4 appointments, go out, sit with 4, and sell 4.
Yeah.
And so I was not like mad that you helped the families, but I was like, you booked 4 appointments, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not the expectation, right? And you knew that too. Like, we laugh about it now because like we were laughing about it then too. You knew you didn't have enough appointments.
100%.
It happens to the best of us. But anyways, to dive right in, I mean, I'm just super excited to be here with you today, Christina. I'm just really excited about this podcast because what, like you said, we want to do is it's always just that small tweak, that small adjustment that makes the biggest difference. So if you're out there and you're an agent in the life insurance industry, like it's just one tweak and adjustment away or one place of uncomfortability away to seeing the success that you want to see. So
I agree. And the most amazing thing about FFL is just that the system works as long as you work it. Nobody here is the magic. The system is the magic. And that's why you see so many different types of agents from across the country just winning at such a high level because they're just putting in the work, putting in the activity, and utilizing the FFL system. So I love that. I love that. Let's just jump right into it.
Let's do it.
I guess, Marisa, you've been a Hall of Fame producer now. You're super consistent, always helping at least 30 families per month for as long as I can really remember. And I guess, talk a little bit about what your schedule looks like each week. Let's just start there. Let's start with schedule. What does your schedule look like as a full-time agent each week with FFL?
Absolutely. So and before we jump into this, I do want to say it's like if you're part-time, we get it. But you have to have that word consistent. Mm-hmm. If you're part-time and you're consistently working these days, cool, but you can't mess them up just as if you were full-time, right? So really, Christina, I messed the schedule up, which is a very easy outline, quite a few times before I got it right. And what I used to do is, I always go back to this story because I think it was powerful for me and it impacted my whole career. When I used to work out of the Connecticut, the corporate office, sometimes Sean would be there. And I was there for a meeting one day that Sean was holding. And, Sean was introducing me to everyone, right? And I was kind of like, oh, this is really sweet, but like, why is he doing it? The way he was introducing me was, hey, this is Marisa. She does really great at her job. She works part-time and, she writes and helps about, 20 to 30 families a month, but she's part-time. Like, that's how he was introducing me. And I was like, Sean, I'm full-time. And he's like, no, you're not. Because if you were full-time, you'd be getting full-time results. So my point is Christina, I messed that schedule up because what I would do is, so what the schedule should look like for anybody, that's wondering that. We're dialing on Mondays for Tuesday and Wednesday, and we're making sure it's just for Tuesday and Wednesday. Because if I book an appointment for Friday on Monday, 10 to 1 says that appointment's not going to be there, right? They're going to try to cancel. They're going to just not be home. Oh, I forgot about it, right? So you want to make sure you're not booking your appointments more than 48, 72 hours max out. So dialing on Monday for Tuesday and Wednesday, my expectation, because I work better with even numbers, has always been 16 appointments. The system does say 15, so 15, 16 appointments. Then dialing on Thursday to do the same exact thing for Friday and Saturday. So I'm dialing on Thursday until I get my 16 appointments for Friday and Saturday. So my week has to have 32 appointments. And I think that this is a big deal too with the schedule, is just like how Sean was introducing me as part-time, I ran that full-time schedule, but I didn't book enough appointments. Mm-hmm. So I would be booking, instead of 16 in a dial session, I would be booking 8 and then 8, and I would have 16 appointments in the week, but I'm supposed to have 32. So technically I worked half the week. So if you're out there and you're not getting to that appointment count, you have to. So that's what my schedule looks like on a week in, week out. I dial on Monday, not leaving the office until I have those 16 appointments for Tuesday, Wednesday. If I'm doing telesales, this is an all day, every day thing. Like you chose that life, and that's okay. That's awesome. You can crush it on telesales, crush it, but also have the expectation that you're going to have to do everything twice as hard, which is fine. You need to buy double the leads. You need to do double the activity. If you're booking appointments or however you're doing, if you're doing one call closes, you're going to need more appointments than if you're going and you're sitting in front of John and Mary, right? Because you're going to get flaked on easier. People are easy to flake over, like they're going to flake on you over the phone. They're going to not show up. They're going to not answer the phone, whatever it might be. So you want to make sure if you are doing telesales, same exact schedule, or you should just be, if you're doing, one call closes, you should just be calling every day. And this business, Christina, it's 40 hours a week, right? Like if you had to drive to your job, are they going to pay? Like no. Right? Like if you had a W-2 job and you're driving, and they don't pay you, they're like, oh, well, she sits in traffic in Boston for 3 hours every morning, so we're going to pay her. No, they're like, get here on time, right? So it's the same thing with the system. I think if we can take those 40 hours, take up your drive time. Nobody cares how far you drive. And I say that with so much love because I just, I'll drive anywhere. Like we all, if you have a vehicle, you can get where you need to go. Just get there, right? So take your drive time out of it, take the emotion out of it. Nobody's paying you for your drive time. That's not the goal. The goal is if you can work 40 true hours every single week, you're needed with the family, or on the phone, I guess you could say, with family, on Zoom with the family. That's when your clock starts, right? That's when you're clocked in. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? 100%. That's the 40 hours. So I know that was a very elaborate answer about my schedule, but that's what my schedule usually looks like, Christina.
Yeah, no, I love that. And just to piggyback on a couple of things that you just said, I think it's so important, and I tell every new agent that I talk to that's going to be working part-time that you are consistent with your schedule. So just because you're not running the FFL full-time producer schedule, if you will, you still need to have the same consistent schedule each week. You need to be, there needs to be a day that you're purchasing leads each week. There needs to be a dial day or dial days each week. There needs to be a set run day or run days each week. And it's like, we find so often that new agents will come on part-time. They won't have a consistent schedule. They won't be booking, 15, 16 appointments in that run day or run days. And then eventually they just psych themselves out and FFL doesn't work. And it's like, no, you didn't work it.
Right.
Exactly. And it's like, especially if you're part-time, this business is all numbers, right? So you need to have those numbers in your favor. You need to make sure you're booking those 15, 16 appointments out each week, or you're not going to be able to, make that transition that a lot of new agents that start with us part-time are looking to do, ultimately transition to working with FFL full-time.
Absolutely. And really quick to piggyback off that, what I'll also say is there's a lot of agents who've done an incredible job of doing that consistent part-time, and they've worked themselves right out of their job, right? Mm-hmm. I've seen it happen in weeks with some people, honestly. Yeah. Literally. Yeah. They're like, this is unbelievable. I'm helping so many families, and I've been able to replace my income, and I'm good. And I'm not big on leave your job. I'm not going to tell somebody to leave their job. I'd rather you come in part-time, check it out, make sure it's for you before you're walking away from your full-time. So absolutely, but consistency, full-time, part-time, sometimes doesn't win, right? Only full-time and part-time win because they're consistent, they're not sometimes, so yeah.
100%. I completely agree with that. And I think a lot of it comes back to belief as well. Like we see new agents that come in and truly believe in the system win here. They're the ones putting the proper amount of activity in because they know that if they do that, they're gonna ultimately breed the results that they want, whether they're part-time or full-time. So I think activity, consistency, and belief is just so much of what this business is and really like all it comes back to.
Absolutely. It's like even when, because we're really hitting on, activity and schedule here, but belief does come into it. Because if you don't believe in life insurance and you don't believe in the importance, it doesn't matter how good you are. Like it doesn't matter. You could be, the best person, but it's like you won't be because you don't believe in it. I always use this silly analogy when I'm getting to know agents just to kind of feel them out, but also because it's something silly that I said when I was 20 years old and got into this business, right? And I would say, Christina, what's your favorite food? Keep it easy.
Cantaloupe.
Okay. So if you had to tell me about cantaloupe and why it's your favorite food, tell me a little bit about it. Go ahead, open it. Like I'm asking you, why is cantaloupe your favorite food?
Cantaloupe is my favorite food because I love fruit. Generally speaking, it's my favorite fruit. Tastes great. It's dense, so I'm vegan, right? So it's like my favorite morning go-to. It just keeps me full. And it's sweet, but it's not too sweet. And I love to add cinnamon to it.
Okay.
I don't know. That's the best thing I for cantaloupe right now, guys.
So here's the thing, though, is you just sold me on cantaloupe, right or wrong?
I suppose. I mean,
right? Because if I said to you, you asked me what's your food, and like, oh, I love pizza. I'm like, I love pizza. You're like, why I love pizza? Oh no, I just love pizza. Just love it. It's like it doesn't matter. You see?
Yeah.
It's a difference. It's all about people can feel that. Like if you feel like their family's not important when you're on the phone or when you're in the home, they're gonna not feel important. Right? So yeah, it definitely always ties back to belief. If you don't believe in life insurance, I hope you don't have to go through an unfortunate situation of losing somebody to actually understand why it's important. And there's so many stories out there that we could sit here and tell for 3 hours, but think about somebody who lost somebody. Think about the last time you saw a GoFundMe. I'm in this industry, I've been in it for some time. I see them like every day. Yeah. It breaks my heart, right? So it's like, that's how I know I believe in this business. I would do anything in this business to try to help family. So, yeah.
You have to believe in life insurance, but you also have to believe in yourself. And I think that's something that you've always done a great job with, is just instilling belief in the agents that you work with, and obviously like you believing in yourself that you can do it. Like you never doubted yourself that you couldn't make it happen, no matter what company we were with, one of the practice companies or with Family First Life. And I think that's what a lot of it comes back to as well. Like obviously you have to believe in life insurance or you're just not gonna be working from the proper place, if you will, when you're protecting families. You're gonna be working from I need to get paid mindset as opposed to I need to protect this family because it's what's best for them and their loved ones, right?
Right.
But you also need to believe that you can do it. So it's like if you're doubting yourself on the phone and you're being shaky and you're pausing and you're being weird, or if you're doing that in the home, it's like the person, whether they're on the other line of the phone or in the home, is going to start doubting you as well. Like, why are they so nervous? Like, are they trying to give me something I don't need? Why are they here? Is this a scam? Like, you know what I mean? Absolutely. So I think like the belief comes back to that too. Like you just have to believe that you can do it. And I think Yori does a really good job at that. She always says like she'll come in, she'll talk about how and Yori's a Hall of Fame producer. If you don't know her, you should. But she'll talk about on how her first couple lead purchases, she didn't make any money. And she didn't care because she just knew that she was getting better each time that she was purchasing leads, each time she was dialing, each time she was sitting with a family. And she literally will tell you, not to speak for her, but I was just looking around and I was like, these people aren't special. If they can do it, I know I can too. And then lo and behold, later, not even a year later, Yuri's a Hall of Fame producer, protected over more than 500 families in a year. A lot of agents, if they didn't have that belief in themselves, they wouldn't have stuck that out.
They'd be gone.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They'd be gone sooner than later, for sure. Yeah,
100%. And Yuri is an awesome example here at Apifel because she's a testament of like buy leads, dial the phones, help families, repeat.
100%.
Dial the phones, don't get results, buy leads, dial the phones, buy leads, dial the phones until you help families.
Until you figure it out.
Because what else, Yuri, again, not to speak for, but what she talks about is like she knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
It was a matter of, okay, I have to make a small tweak here, a small adjustment here, got this, boom. And then she was off. Like literally her, it was like boom. And I was like, right? And now, no, she's unstoppable, right?
Yeah.
And it's because she believes so much in herself. And I know when I was 20 and I was coming into this business, I was like, to be honest, I wasn't, I was at a practice company. I didn't know it was about, I literally didn't know it was about life insurance when I got there. However, I loved what the opportunity sounded like. It sounded like I was going to be able to help people. I also didn't know it was commission. Joke was on me at 20, right? I figured that out pretty quickly. But I wasn't able to help the family in my first month because honestly, Christina, I didn't think I could. I didn't think I was good enough. I thought I was too young. I was too this. I was what you fill in the blank, right? Whatever you tell yourself, that's what you're gonna feel. Like if you tell yourself every day, I'm miserable, you better trust and believe you're gonna be miserable for some time. If you tell yourself every day, like, I'm gonna get better today. Every day I get better. Every time I dial the phones, I get better. And that's a true statement. Like every time I get better every single time till this day. But when I first came in, I couldn't sell life insurance to somebody who literally was begging me for it. Like I would somehow be like, oh, are you sure? I was the person who was in the home, second guessing themselves, shaking when it's literally a family, just like you at your house. Like I'd be in your house, right? Like shaking, like literally, like it's not that deep. We go in there, we help them, we tell them what we're gonna do. They have a problem, we solve it with the product, we submit the application. And when you can simplify things in this business, it gets a lot easier. Because we can overthink things to like the moon, right? I could overthink why does life insurance matter? Go back and forth with my brain for 8 months, but that's not gonna help me. I could go back and forth about what leads am I gonna buy? When do I buy leads? Should I buy them this week? Should I wait? Right? It's like, no. Like my belief, right, was I'm leaving, the restaurant I was working in, right? I'm leaving. My boss asked me why I was leaving. On the way out, I said, go to sell life insurance. He said, I'll see you in 2 weeks. That, if something ever motivated me, thank you, Victor. I love Victor, by the way. Thank you, Victor Hannon. But thank you for saying that to me. Because he was dead serious. But you know what? It pushed me and motivated me because that second month, nobody told me no. It was boom. Because you know what happened? It went boom when my belief level went like this. And in the beginning, I had to borrow someone else's belief in me, right? I had to borrow my manager at the time's belief in me, right? Because I didn't necessarily believe in myself at that exact second.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Coming into this business, there's a difference between self-confidence and self-belief. You can have self-confidence and not have belief in yourself, but it's really hard to have both of those things at the same time, right? If you don't believe in yourself, you can't be confident in that sector. And that becomes a problem. So sometimes you have to borrow your belief. Here's what I can tell any life insurance agent out there is your upline wants you to win. Whether you're here, whether you're anywhere, it doesn't matter. If you are in the life insurance industry, your upline wants you to win. Why wouldn't they, right? So it's borrow their belief. And when you borrow their belief and you start believing in yourself, it all becomes a pattern. Their belief in you, you appreciate it, but it doesn't necessarily dictate who you are anymore. You dictate that belief, right? And that's strong. Because when you move with that strong head, that strong mindset, you can move mountains, man. So
100%. And I know we kind of touched on leads there. So let's talk a little bit about leads. Like, what does your lead flow look like now? What did it look like when you initially kind of got started with FFL? What are the proper expectations that an agent that wants to win here should have when it comes to leads each week?
I think the proper expectation is that you're spending. So when I came in, to answer your question, I came in and I did come in from a practice company. However, I came in from that practice company. I was broke, you know this. But the thing is I needed to figure out how far I could stretch the dollars I had in my bank account, right? Now we got things like work spots and like you fill in the blank rate that are good, like crazy discounts. You know, we have internet leads. Like when I came in, okay, we had aged mortgage is what I was working. I would just scoop up the aged mortgage and but what I would do, Christina, is I would dial on those. I'd be making 1,000 dials. And I'm not talking phone burner 1,000 dials.
Yeah, they didn't have phone burner then.
Yeah, like honestly, I'm the phone burner, right? Like, but really though, it's like, you know, you gotta be able to dial the phone with or without phone burner. Like if phone burner crashes tomorrow, does that mean your business is over? But my point is that activity had to be so high because I didn't have the funds to put into leads correctly, right? I was stacking the deck. I had 100 leads that were new to me, but they were definitely not brand new. But I booked my appointments and I worked myself out of that situation, right? Every week I was still booking 32 appointments. It was just taking me a little bit longer, you know. And I think lead diversification, once you get this thing down, is key. Like you have to use leads out of the CRM. You have to try Facebook leads. You have to try internet leads. You need to try you gotta try live transfers. You have to try every single lead type, because if I haven't tried every single lead type, couple of things. First and foremost, it's gonna be hard for me to, you know, help an agent, right? Depending on availability in their area. So it's always been important to me, but also just coming from the agent in the field stance, I'm not betting on one lead type. I'm betting on multiple lead types because I already proved the internet leads worked. I already proved the age final expense worked. I already proved the age mortgage, so this, so that. I've already proved they all work. Now I just need to find my mix that's going to work for me and automate it. If there's one thing you can do in this business to make sure you're always pushing, automate your leads. Because you know they're going to, like, you know that Karen who filled the lead out is going to just fill another lead out if you don't call her, right? You're already paying for it. So anything you can automate, and have it just come right out of your account. It's a business, guys. And this is the only business I know that you can come into, literally broke, basically, or with very few dollars, and turn those dollars into serious ROI, right?
100%.
You know, and Christina, to answer, now what that looks like, essentially, we shouldn't be spending I don't care if you're full-time, part-time, or sometimes, you shouldn't be spending anything less than $1,000 on your lead purchase. Because I would be hurting you to say that, hey, Christina, get 19 leads out of the CRM and dial them. What's going to happen?
Especially as a new agent, it's going to be hard to get the results you want. You only have 19 leads. On the CRM.
Like you got not all 19 are even going to answer.
Yeah.
Never mind, they're all going to say, yeah, come over. The probability of that is 0. I'm not even going to say something. It's slim to none. But point being is now all of my leads are automated. So I have, mail drop programs on for mortgage. I have final expense leads on so that they're just, they're coming in. I work with Facebook final expense. I always grab internet leads out of the CRM. Aged mortgage, aged final expense. It's literally a mix of everything. Like truly. But it's automated. The only thing that's not automated is I go into the CRM at least twice a day, check my counties, see what's around, and scoop leads up so that the next dial day, I know that I'm going to have at least 100 fresh new leads that are new to me. They don't have to be new leads, but they're new to me, right? So every dial day, goal should be have 100 brand new leads in front of you. And again, they don't have to be new. They just have to be new to you, meaning that they're aged final expense, their aged mortgage, their 1 month internet, right? Like we have people who are freaking crushing it on 1 month internet. So if you're not working internet leads, you're making a big mistake. But anyways, so a little bit of everything is in there, and automating that and making sure I can hold myself accountable to check the CRM. Like there's an alert button. It shoots you an email. All you have to do is log in. Don't be lazy. You'll be kicking yourself in the butt later that week saying, oh, I wish I supplemented with some CRM leads earlier in the week. So that's what it looked like then. That's what it looks like now.
So is it fair to say on any given dial day, even as a new agent, you need to be spending at least $500 on leads each dial day?
Each dial day, right? And again, dial days are Monday and Thursday. So you should be buying your leads, if they're not automated, on Sundays and Wednesdays. Make sure you print them out, get them ready to go for the next morning. At least $500, absolutely. And it can feel like a hefty expense when you come in, right? Christina, like, I didn't come in rich. I know that you didn't either, And here's what I can tell you though. It goes back to the business aspect of it. Like, where else can you, like, if I needed $500 and somebody just drained all everything I've ever had, but somebody had a gun to your head and said, I need $500. Like, you better trust and believe I'm going to find it, right? So what gets me is you're coming in, you're essentially opening your own business. We're 1099. We're independent contractors working with independent contractors. I love that. However, there's an expense to start a business.
100%.
So that $500 might seem like a lot until you're helping 5 families. You're helping 10 families, right? You're 10x in that ROI, and that's really important. If you keep focusing on how much money you spent on the leads, when you're dialing them, all you're going to be focusing on is how much money you spent on the leads, right? So be confident in yourself when you're doing that. Be confident in your lead order, and also remember why you got into this business. You didn't just go out and get a life insurance license. You're like, oh, that seems like a cool one to have. Like, no one ever said that, So make sure like you're utilizing it. You're going into a business. $500, you can find it. Don't head fake yourself. Do not head fake yourself. Like, I sold some valuable things to me when I first came into this business at my practice companies. Like, whatever it is, do what you got to do. Figure it out. So yeah, $500 for every dial day would be a better way to look at it.
Minimally, right?
Right. And over time that might increase. You might hear things like people are like, oh, I spend $20,000 a month on leads. Okay. Yeah, I've heard that. But guess what? That's the agent who's helping 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 families a month. So they don't care because the ROI is just that much greater. So
I love that. And I think it's so important that agents really internalize that leads ultimately are the bloodline of our business. Without
lead flow is cash flow.
100%.
You want cash flow, you need lead flow.
Yeah, if you don't have leads, if you don't have folks to call, you don't have families to sit down with, you can't make any money for your own. So it's like, it all comes back to leads. $500 to $1,000 every dial day, $1,000 to $2,000 each week, you're gonna get the results that you want.
Absolutely, but it's also about that activity.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because, again, we can head fake ourselves and be like, okay, I bought the leads, right? I bought the leads, I'm on the dial team, I'm plugged in, but then you don't take action, right? Or you start to take action and then, Joe, who's having a bad day, answers the phone and tells you to go fly a kite. And then you're like thinking about it and you're like, oh God, should I call the next one? Yes, call the next one. Joe's having a bad day, who cares? Leave him alone. Next. I used to care so much. I'm like, oh no, I should have said this. It doesn't matter what you should have said. Go to the next lead and say it. Right?
Yeah, take everything as a learning experience. And I think one of the best things about phone burner is it takes a lot of the emotion out of it. That's why I preach to new agents about phone burner. Like, I can't talk good enough about phone burner because oftentimes new agents psych themselves out on the phones. It's the hardest part for them is actually getting to the dialing, dealing with the rejection. And phone burner makes it that much easier. It takes so much of the emotion out of it because it's just power dialing for you. It doesn't give you time to sit there and overanalyze the lead, right?
100%. And it also makes sure that that activity stays high,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, if your activity isn't high, I mean, you're not going to win here. You're going to phase yourself out. The people who win here at a high level, they work their butts off. And that's why they get rewarded at the high level, right? Like, my activity is so crazy to think back on, like, the past, like, just in this industry. It's not just a family first life, by the way. No matter where you go, you have to work hard in this industry. Like, sorry, I'll drop. But no, seriously, you have to work hard in this industry, and if you're not working hard, you have to take a look in the mirror and ask yourself, why? Like, why am I not working hard?
Mm-hmm.
What's holding me back? What's my fear, right? Because there's always a fear, right? Like the first door knock I ever did, Christina, right? Like I was like in there, I'm like watching all the videos that I can. And that was like, again, it's like 6 years ago. So I'm like, do they even have videos on this? Is there a script I can bring to the door with me, right? Like the whole nine. But really, it's like, all you have to do is go up to Mary's door. And no matter, I always say this, whatever you're going to say, you're going to say.
Mm-hmm. So true. It's just
on the phones, on a door knock, in the home, like it's just gonna come out. So like you can sit there and role play in your car and waste 2 hours and then never know. I'm like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'm gonna start my door knocking tomorrow, Christina. Even though I didn't book enough appointments.
Mm-hmm.
No. You're gonna start today, right now, right? So in terms of activity, I just want to hit on this is like you need to go into dial day expecting, if you're doing in-home, expecting to make 500 dials, expecting to be in your office 8 to 8. And when I say your office is whatever space you're dialing in.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not plugging into a work spots location and you're in a 3-hour vicinity, man, you're messing up. Get yourself there. Get yourself in the right environment. Get yourself in the right headspace. I worked from home at my practice company, and I don't know how I did it.
I don't know how we did it because we used to be dialing in the basement together. You'd be on one side, I'd be on the other.
Yep. And then I'd be like, where are you at? And be like, I'm at 8. Where are you at? I'm like, I'm at 7. Right. And like, we're just go like, it's like, but we still had our heads down. Here's the thing. If you're at home and you're dialing, like me and you were in the basement. Like we were never in the basement unless we were literally like doing work.
Unless we were dialing.
Yeah. That was like our secret office. Right. But the activity was there. We took, we couldn't go clean our room. We couldn't do the laundry. We couldn't make a sandwich, right? Like we were dialing. We weren't like, oh, hey, let's go upstairs for a couple of minutes. It's like, I knew once I opened that basement door and went upstairs, like it was game over.
Yeah.
Like, so get yourself to a location where I would say where you're uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. You might be like, oh, well, I don't know the person, and my upline doesn't know the person at the work spots location. You work at Family First Life, period.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. As long as you go into that location, you do your job, right? You do your job, you dial the phones and take feedback and don't make conversation and distract everybody around you, they're going to want you to be there because you're helping them just as much as they're helping you, right? Like, work spots is a big deal. So, but anyways, your environment's going to dictate your behavior. So if you're in if me and you, let's go back to the basement at our practice company, if me and you were in the basement, but we're powwowing about what we're going to do Saturday night, like, we're not working, right? Like, we're not dialing, we're sitting down there talking. Like, that's not work, right? But the thing was, we went down there with our dial trackers. We were like boom, boom, boom. Like we weren't going upstairs until we had our appointment count. It wasn't on the table for like discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Like we both knew the deal. That was the deal. So I think that in terms of activity, you have to expect to make 500 dials
At least.
minimum.
Yeah.
You have to expect to be there 8 to 8. And guess what? You finish at 1 o'clock. Cool. Now you get to, do whatever you want to do. You get to go help other agents. You get to build your business. You get to go spend time with your kids. You get to, whatever it is for you that you're wanting. Because typically we want some type of freedom, so to say. But we also have to work ourselves to a place of freedom. Like, there's been times where, I really just was like, I don't want to go in the field this week. I just really, I don't feel like it. Like, I'm tired, like I've been doing this, for this. Like, it's like, boo-hoo, poor you. No one cares. Like, literally, no one cares. It's like, when an agent called, this happened, it's like, I'm not being mean. Like, I don't care really what happened. I'm just calling you about, like, hey, is there anything I can help with? How did your dial session go? Like, I don't need to hear, like, the deer and the band camp story.
It's
not
the complaints department.
Yeah, we don't have a complaint department. We still don't have one.
Yeah. Take it up with HR.
I'm HR. No, I'm kidding. But my point is you have to be at a high activity level. If you're not making 500 dials and then saying, okay, I feel like I have a phone problem, right? Like, we can't identify that in your first 5 dials.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way for us to do it, right? So it's like, if you're a new agent getting started, I said, Christina, I need you to make your first 100 dials, minimum, before you call me about anything. And by the way, it's like, that's not to, like, oh, because I'm so busy and important. No. That's actually the complete opposite. It's because I need to make sure that I'm giving you, the new agent, the correct at-bat. I don't want to be, we're 1099 independent contractors working with 1099 independent contractors. I don't want to be the person who you need me to be there in order for you to dial. Mm-hmm. Because you don't. It's a head fake. We can head fake ourselves so bad, and it can kill us, right? But we can also head fake ourselves so bad that it helps us. For example, we were working out of Juan's office. We were on dial team. I would head fake, and this was when we first started dial team. COVID just hit, so April 2020. Before we had our office here, and I remember being in my office within Josh's office, and I literally would get on dial team, and my mindset wasn't, oh, I'm getting on dial team, right? It was, okay, Marisa, you have to be on this thing dialing at 8 a.m. or you're fired. If I didn't view it that way, the importance of it would diminish, right? Like, me and Josh and you, we were on there like all 3 of our lives depended on it. And we would stay on it. And even when it was just the 3 of us, when we're all in the same office, we would stay on it though, because then everyone starts joining, and it becomes a movement. And you realize as the active dialer or listening to agent style, whatever it might be, like, wow, I'm learning a lot from them, and they're learning a lot from me. This is a win-win. Also, I get to hear the new agent dial, and the new agent gets to hear a seasoned agent dial. And the great news is too, Christina, is like, I get hung up on, right? Like, all the time. And like, my reaction is usually I just fold the paper in half and I just toss it and I just call the next one. But that had to be my stance on dial team, because if I looked at it like it was optional to do that activity, then it was optional. And when dial team came in, like, this story will never get old, because it shows how strong your mind really is. Like, me and Josh were kind of freaked out to dial live. Do you remember that? We were like, oh God, this is kind of scary. Like, it really wasn't scary once you did it. But when we looked at it, like, it wasn't for us. It was for us, but it was for everybody else. Our job was just to get to our appointment count. I wouldn't leave that office, I wouldn't even use the restroom for hours until I had my appointments, because I was like, I just want to know that I completed this task. And when you say I'm going to get to the office at 8, I'm going to be on the phone, I'm going to get to the office at 7:30, I'm going to be on the phones at 8. I'm dialing until I have 16 appointments. That mindset, it changes everything. It changes the way that you look at yourself. It changes your approach. It changes what you're saying on the phone. There's a saying that said, and I don't know who said it, if I'm being honest, that however long, if you have 30 hours, to let's just say, clean your bedroom. This is not the same, by the way, but it's the same concept.
Yeah.
If you have 30 hours to clean your bedroom, it's going to take you 30 hours. Mm-hmm. If you have 3 hours to clean your bedroom, it's going to take you 3. Same thing with dials. There have been times even now, I have to be at this conference at 12, so I have to make sure I leave by 11, so I have 3.5 technically hours dial, right? It's like, those are usually my best dial sessions. But it's funny because you trick your mind. So if you can trick your mind, and that's all this is, it's mind over matter. the activity will be high. So there's two words that I really just hope everybody gets out of this, which are activity and consistency. Because you can be really consistent in this business for 2 weeks and you can crush it, right? Help 20 families the first 2 weeks, you're all jacked up. And now what do? You're going to Disneyland. Don't do it, man. I don't know why it's so true. I don't know why everyone goes to Disneyland.
Nothing good ever happens to agents that do that.
Yeah, like I've never seen like the Disneyland agent like come back and like, well actually I mean I've heard a couple of stories but it's really not common. So my whole point is if you work those 2 weeks, you also have to realize like this is a business of momentum. And when momentum's on your side, like it's on your side. When it's not, it feels like you're just pushing a boulder up a mountain and you're never gonna get it up there, right? Like I'm never gonna get to my appointment. Whereas momentum is gonna bring you on some dips and swings, but you're moving fast. That's the thing. Like you're moving freaking fast. You're going, right? And same thing when you're in the field, right? Like your activity, okay, great. You book let's just say you have 8 and 8 for Tuesday and Wednesday. And now on Tuesday, you go in the field, your first appointment at 8 a.m. no shows you. You now have 2 choices you're faced with, right? Feel bad for yourself, right? Which that's one. In like typically like the CVS parking lot or like the Dunkin' Donuts one, right? Because like Starbucks parking lot, you can't be feeling bad for yourself, right? So I'm kidding, but you're gonna be in 1 or 2 places. A parking lot feeling bad for yourself, on the phone with a friend feeling bad for yourself, that's the first place, right? One of those places. Or you're gonna be in a place of, okay, Dawn had 8 o'clock no-showed me. I now have these 5 door knocks that I already mapped out. I already did this yesterday, right?
Yeah.
I already did this. I have these 5 places to go. So it doesn't matter that Dawn is not there. My point is every appointment you have, you should have 5 door knocks set up. You want to look at your schedule and assume all 8 of your appointments or all however many of your appointments are not going to be home, right? And not in a bad assumptive way. They might all be there. Mm-hmm. But if they're not there, you have plan B.
You have 5 places to go.
Exactly.
Don't start overthinking.
Yeah. So Road Warrior. Download Road Warrior if you haven't already. We'll synchronize a door knock route. You want to make sure you're getting maximum lead resolution. Your activity matters for so many different reasons, but one of the biggest ones is lead resolution. You can have literally, I've seen agents have thousands of leads and they won't door knock. You bought the lead. Resolve it.
Yeah.
I don't care if you resolve it on the phone, in person, you see them on jet plane. Like you gotta get it yes or no. And there's only a couple of ways to do that. On the phone or in the home.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like if the first approach is not working, you have to go to the second approach. And when you go to the second approach, not everyone's willing to do this. The people who win at a high level are the ones who are willing to do things that other people are not willing to do. Such as setting up 5 door knocks for every appointment. That's 40 door knocks, right? Like, so that would mean that for every given day, assuming you have 8 appointments, you have 48 places to be. Mm-hmm. And guess what? If you have 0 appointments, you should still have 40 places to be. Because you should just be door knocking all day. So it's like the act out of your control. Your first one is fully income producing hours. Because I can't call you at 11 p.m. That would be a little bit weird. If like I'm calling you as a lead at 11 p.m. At 11 p.m. though, if I want to, waste my time and look up, what every single carrier does, I can do that. But don't do it during income producing hours, right? You got to be so active in the field that even if you have no appointments, you're coming out with a win.
Yeah.
Because you door knocked. Like, I think this is what people don't get. It's like the accumulation of appointment count, right? It's like, goes back to what I was kind of saying at the beginning. If you have 5 appointments, and then you have 5, you set 5, well, you have 10 each week, you're ending a 4-week month with 40 appointments.
Yeah.
You with me?
Which is equivalent to like what you should be doing in a week.
Exactly. So I only ran a third of the month because that's 40 appointments versus I should have 120, right? It's like, if we can look at it that way, we're chasing how many leads can I resolve, because that's going to lead to how many people I can reach, how many families I'm sitting with and talking to, and how many I'm helping out. and it's going to make sure that your lead resolution is working. Because if you're not willing to door knock, dial, like you're not willing to do the business.
Yeah.
Like you're not willing to do it.
You're not willing to win.
You don't want it that bad.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is you can see the conviction in certain people that they want it. Like they're like, oh, I just door knocked 10 houses and I got into 3 and I helped 2 families and like, you know what I mean? Like they're excited about door knocking. What am I going to say when I get there? Who cares? You're going to say, hi, my name's Marisa. I'm trying to get you on the phone. I was just helping your neighbor down the street. I know, Christina, you had filled this form out regarding life insurance protection. Just my job to get it out to you. Should just take about 10 minutes. Shoes on or off. Like, that's my drop by. And then if Christina's like, oh, well, my husband's not home because we don't want to one-leg the appointment, I'm going to say, okay, Christina, well, what time are you and your husband usually home on Friday?
5 p.m.
You guys are usually in about 5?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm really busy on Friday. I already know that. But they have me helping some other families out over here. I'll make an exception. I'll squeeze you guys in Friday between about 6:30. Any reason you guys want to be home at that time?
We'll be home.
Okay. Make sure you guys are here. Make sure you let your husband Mike know, and I look forward to seeing you guys then. I'm not leaving Christina with my business card, my phone number, my this, that, because I don't want you to have a way out, right? Now, like this person interacted with me. They met me at their door. I had a personal interaction with them, face to face.
You showed them the lead.
Exactly. They saw what they filled out. They're like, oh yeah, I remember that. They know they don't answer their phone. I'm like, yeah, I don't. Right? It's like, oh, I don't either. Like in regards to like, if you're gonna call me and try to cancel the appointment, don't ever answer your phone. By the way, if like you're booking, just let it ring. You don't even listen to the voice.
And still show up.
Yeah, you always show up. Always show up. So this person already had an interaction with you. Like, you know what I mean? They are and they told you to come back Friday, right? I told you I'd squeeze you in. I was adamant with, I'm really busy on Friday. Okay, chances are is I don't even know
what Friday looks like yet.
Correct.
It's Wednesday.
Because it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
I can squeeze in. You know, when you're doing things, people take that as a favor. And you know what? It's you are serving, right? Like you are serving. You're truly helping people. And I think if you haven't had your first death claim, that you don't really know like how much you're actually helping people, right?
It makes it real for sure.
So it's like, get out there and help them. Like, get out there and do your damn job. Our job is to help families. Our job is to make sure that on the worst day of somebody's life, that their family's protected. And the only way you can do that is with high activity, high intention, and high expectations for yourself. Bet on yourself every single time.
Yeah.
There's days I don't want to bet on me. But you know what? I have to. Because if I'm not betting on me, like who else is? I don't expect anybody else to. So my point is show up every single day. You don't have enough appointments, boo-hoo. You don't feel like that, boo-hoo. Think about what you'd be doing if you're not dying.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what would you be doing if you weren't helping families? Like, what would you be doing if, okay, Mary no-showed you. Get over it. Let's get your tie down better, right? Like, my whole point is your activity you have to feel like you're putting so much activity in that, like, nobody can get in your way. And when you move like that, it's contagious. Like, it's momentum. It's like, get out of my way. Like, unless you're ready to do this, get out of my way, right? Like, in regards to people around you, in regards to yourself, how you're looking at yourself, it's get out of my way because I'm on a mission.
Yeah.
You know? When you have a goal every month, every week, every field day,
yeah,
right? Like, every dial day, a week, and so on, you're going to fight for that goal. Because when you hit it, when you're hitting your goal, or you even say, I'm going to get to the office at 8, or I'm going to wake up at 6, I'm going to do a quick workout, take a shower, get ready, I'll be at the office by 7:30, and I'll be on the phones by 7:45. When you do that, you're going to feel way better about yourself.
100%.
Because you did what you told yourself you were going to do. And same thing is applicable. If you tell yourself you're going to door knock in the field, and you don't, then and you got no-showed, and you got a couple of no sales, whatever, you're going to go home like, wow, like, I don't even know if I can do this thing. Like, really, like, dramatic and emotional. Don't be emotional about the result if you weren't emotional about the activity. Mm-hmm. If you're not going to cry on the way home because you didn't do 40 door knocks, then don't get emotional. Because you can get emotional if you do 40 door knocks and you know, you talk to all 40 and you got more leads, and then we can start getting emotional about the activity. But I've never seen a time, truly, I've never seen a time that in a month span it didn't play out when somebody was putting in their full effort activity, they were conscious, they were aware, they were ready to go, right? And it didn't pan out for them.
Yeah.
It might have not panned out day one, day two, but it panned out. Like, that's why we always know how you can't look at this business on a day-to-day, week-to-week, and even a month-to-month basis. It's difficult. We got to measure it in quarters. So if you know you can put your head down and go to work for 90 days, do it. I challenge you to do it. Because if you can do that and then look up, and you're going at it with full force, everything that you literally have, like your actual life depends on it, you're gonna win. And then in 90 days, you're gonna be like, I'm not changing anything I was doing because it's working.
Yeah.
Right? High activity is going to breed high results. It's going to breed high lead resolution, and it's going to breed a mental and stable mindset. And that's so important.
Yeah.
So I know I just kind of, went in on that, but it's so important.
No, I love that. I love everything you said. I couldn't agree more. And I just think implementing those small daily disciplines is key.
Yeah.
Like door knocking, getting to an office, protecting your dial time, buying leads each dial day, having the proper appointment counts. And if you're not, you're door knocking. I actually had an agent call me yesterday. She only set 6 appointments for 2 days. She said, I just had a really off dial day. And normally she sets her schedule within like 3-4 hours for both days. So I knew that was an off dial day for her. She said, I have 6 appointments the next 2 days, but I'm just gonna door knock. She called me last night after her day was over, and she had 4 appointments yesterday. She didn't protect any families from those appointments, but she protected 2 families from door knocking.
Boom. You know why? Because she was willing to do it.
And she just has the best attitude. She puts the activity in. She knows it's all numbers. She doesn't get emotional. You know what I mean?
And you just hit it on the head, right? Like, when you know it's all numbers and you start to know your numbers, because we all know our numbers in terms of how many dials do I have to make to book X amount of appointments, how many are going to be there, how many am I going to close, You know what I mean? Like, when you know those numbers, even from a door knocking stance, like, that's some powerful stuff because it's an interaction. So go ahead. Sorry to interject.
No, it's you're right. It's so true. It just all comes back to activity. And once you start doing those daily disciplines and they become what's normal to you, it's just that's what it is. It's just what's normal. It's just what you're gonna do, and it's gonna allow you to feel better about yourself. It's gonna allow you to reach the new levels that you want to achieve. So I think that's so important. I can't agree with you more.
Yeah, and like, I just want to kind of just say this before I know we're kind of getting to it at the end, but it's like, when I was in this business, Chris, and I had moved, remember? So I grew up in Boston, like we're at the outskirts of Boston, so I was like city, like very city. However, the corporate office in Connecticut, when I got started at FFL, was with traffic in the morning, like 3.5 hours away.
Yeah.
However, I went there every Monday and Thursday to dial. And those 3.5 hours that I utilized in the car for phone training, for in-home training, or whatever it was, I knew I was one up in the person next to me who their house is right next door to the office. Because I was now going to have basically 7 hours of drive time to and from a dial session to listen to more and more things that are going to fill and help my business. And the other side of that coin, Chris, is like, when it gets bigger than you, it's not even like an option. Like, it's not optional anymore. And what I mean by that is, like, when you're bringing someone else into this business, and I'm on here preaching about how you have to, you have this much activity, it's like, first of all, I want to start, I do all of these things. If I didn't, I wouldn't have been able to reach the levels of helping as many families as I have. And I'm not a big, like, to my own horn. But it's not me, it's the activity I'm putting in. And I am so aware of that. But when you're building a team, or you bring your friend in, you gotta show them that whatever you're telling them to do, you're doing it. And if you're not doing it, they're definitely not gonna do it. So be cautious of that. Like, think about what you're saying before you say it. Because when you start building a team, and like I remember like when you and I started building teams, like we gave up the right to be average. Like I was cool with that. I'm game because I'll fight harder for somebody on my team than I will for myself. Like I'll fight harder for you than I will for me. And does that make it right? No, I'm not saying that that's how you have to be. But what I am saying is I show up every day for the team. I show up for myself and my business. But more importantly, I show up for the team and the people that I told, I'm going to be there. I'm going to help you. I'm going to show you. Right?
100%.
And a lot of that is by action. So practice what you preach in this business, and it will take you far. But also understand that when you're building a business, you're giving up the right to be ordinary. You're giving up the right to just, like do what you want to do and run, at your own pace and maybe do this, maybe do that, like give people advice on things, and you're not even helping 20 families a month. Please stop giving advice to people about the field if you're not helping 20 families a month. Please do everybody a favor, right? Because that right there, what I just said, is actually what messes with a lot of agents' mindset. It's like, why are you talking to the person who writes no business every month? Like, what were you hoping to get out of that conversation?
Yeah.
And sometimes those are the people at events, they'll be like super jacked up to talk about it. So you gotta just ask them, like, how many families do you help every month? It's under 20, please seek new advice, And I say that with love because everybody can help 20 families. It's about going out and doing it, right?
100%. 100%. And it's really important in this business, whether you're building an agency or you're just focusing on personal production, that you're feeding yourself positive things. So you want to make sure you're having discussions with people that are positive, people that are going to build you up, people that are going to help you get where you want to be, as opposed to people that are going to bring you down. And I love what you said about drive time. And I heard Paul say this one time, and he was talking about when he first started, how he'd have to run his leads like 4, 5, 6 hours away from where he actually lived. And he'll always talk about how he loved that drive time because he would just use his car as a learning university, right? And he'll still to this day tell you, I don't think that I could have gotten where I am if I didn't have those hours in the car, because I wouldn't have learned as much about the industry and about, just mindset and about what I should be doing and training and podcasts and just all that stuff. So it's like, I know you kind of touched on this earlier, but like when you're driving to families' homes and you want to complain, like there's a lot of things that you could be doing that are a lot worse than sitting in your air conditioned or your heated car, where you have the ability to, listen to podcasts, listen to trainings, listen to Audible, whatever it may be, just something that's going to allow you to be better and get where you want to be. Like you could be like jackhammering or I don't know, roofing, or just, there's a lot of things that you could be doing.
You could be a retail store. You could be at a lot of places. You could be serving drinks. You could be, like someone's yelling at you about, why, you put Pepsi instead of Coke. Like
there's a lot of places that you could be that are a lot worse than your car, bettering yourself. So I think that's the way you really have to look at it, is your car is a rolling university, and just be mindful of who you're allowing to be in your circle, if you will, who you're talking to, especially about the business. As a new agent, if this was for everyone would do it. So it's not. This business itself, not everyone that even cares about you might have the beneficial and positive things to say about it initially until you prove to them that it works. So just be mindful of that. Make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people, listening to the right things, and just plugging into trainings, plugging into the Zoom dial teams, the team calls. All that is huge. If you look at any agent that's winning at a high level on our team, they plug into everything.
Yeah, and I believe like out of the top 20 last month, all of them are people who are on the dial team, except maybe like one person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, it's important. It's just like what you said, it's momentum. The dial team is momentum. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if you're not showing up for yourself, you're going to show up for everyone else.
Exactly.
So I love that.
For sure. In the drive time, it's funny because like it really does.
That's not what it's going to look like, right?
Yeah. So you're getting a 1-up like if you have, plug into your dial team, make sure you're on the trainings. Like if you miss the TNL,
that's weird. Like that's so weird.
Do you work here?
Yeah. Why are you on the TNL?
Yeah, like because whoever's on it, trust me, there's always a nugget. I've been in this industry 6 years now, and it's like I always take a nugget from it every single time. Like that was like it. They wouldn't be on the next level if they weren't at the next level.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah, making sure you're plugging into trainings, the dial team, your organization's trainings, like that's really important. You might be like, oh, well, I hear this guy or girl talk every single week. Well, that's great, but then if you are listening, taking it, applying it, and moving on, there's always a nugget, and it's always just one thing away from that next level, just about getting uncomfortable, doing things sometimes you don't feel like doing, and every time you do something you don't feel like doing, it's going to start reprogramming your brain to just start doing it.
Thanks for joining us today for episode 2 of Solidity. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. We'll be back next Wednesday with a new episode.